What's a negative fact about marijuana we should know? It crosses the placenta. A lot of misinformed women don't realize this and self-medicate with weed against pregnancy pains. Edit, I'm in dental school. Here are the risks I learned in embryology where I was told to advise against it. I'm just trying to inform people and I'm not here to argue or judge. Decreased fetal oxygen and increased carbon monoxide levels. Increased risk of miscarriage and low birth weight. Increased risk of future learning/behavioral delays. Potential fetal withdrawal symptoms. It is counterindicated by the American Pediatric Society. You're still inhaling smoke into your lungs, which is harmful. Edit, yes, I'm aware that there are other ways to use weed. The fact remains that if you smoke it, which is the most widespread method of consumption, it's bad for your lungs. It's dangerous for dogs. Keep your stash well away from your pets. Cannabis affects everyone differently. One person could get major anxiety relief from medicating, while another person could have an anxiety attack with the same herb. I've seen too many people try and label it a miracle drug that's the answer to all our prayers. Don't get me wrong, it's fantastic how far we've come, but stop sugarcoating it. The smell to non-smokers is very prevalent. People want to claim it's not addictive. While that may be true on a biochemical level, I'll be damned if I don't know a bunch of people that act identical to addicts when it comes to pot. Edit, Mr. Word. If you smoke regularly you're still kinda spacey even when you're sober. I'm a stoner but I've gone on a few extended breaks because of it. I don't know any sources for my claim except for experience. So maybe it's just me but I doubt that. My friend used to smoke heavy at some point of his life. A few years later he stopped. He said it scared him when he came to a realization that he can barely remember any events or stuff we did together in the past few years. Marijuana use in teens is associated with the development of psychosis and schizophrenia in a small percentage of users. Furthermore, there is a dose-response relationship. The more marijuana consumed by the teen, the greater the risk of psychosis. People who are really into it can sometimes be really boring because they won't talk about anything else. Weed causes burnout in some people. Clarification, I am a stoner, but everything has a downside. I'm just curious about what those are, since all I hear is weed is amazing. I'm totally psychologically addicted, and it's hard to quit because it's comparatively safe. Edit, and the fact everyone says that it's comparatively safe implies it's not fully safe. There are few downsides, I'm sure, but there have got to be downsides. Long-term smoking can cause IBS-like symptoms. I know quite a few tokers who also have bad stomach issues. It can trigger panic attacks in high doses. The negative part is, everyone's tolerance is different so it's hard to say whether you'll have that experience, especially early on. Especially with homemade edibles. Start small. It affects your memory, as well as your memory. People who are stoned are incredibly boring and irritating to be around if you're not stoned. You eat a lot of chips, chocolate, candy, sandwiches, cheeseburgers, etc. Makes food taste amazing. Not so good when you are trying to lose a few pounds, lol. I try to find munchies that I like but healthy at the same time. It does affect your lungs. Less is more. When you find that's no longer true, it's time for a break. It gave me disassociation since April and it has completely, I cannot state this enough, completely changed how you perceive and understand life. You feel like a stranger to yourself, from the world, and it's terrifying. Over time it should get better but it can last a lifetime. It's not super common to get it but there's a chance you will. To have your entire life outlook negatively changed for life is not worth the high. Trust me. Stoners will insist that it's not addictive, but my stoner friends can't go without it. Even on days when I ask my friends not to smoke because my parents are coming around, I catch them smoking. Even just for a day or a night or a drive, if I ask my friends not to be high, they'll be high. They claim that they could stop anytime, that they could quit one day and never go back. but I've never seen them go one day without it in the past 2 years. I don't believe for a second that marijuana isn't chemically addictive, but if they're not addicted to the chemicals, they're definitely addicted to the habit, and to me that's just as dangerous. There is a difference between physical addiction and behavioral addiction. When people talk about being addicted to weed, they aren't saying it is physically addicting. There are potheads that are purposely obtuse when it comes to this. They know what people mean, they just choose to act like they are talking about something different. If you feel the need to intentionally misunderstand what others are saying, you might need to take a break from it for a while and re-eval your life choices. And no, all weed enthusiasts are potheads. I refer to the people who get really bent out of shape if you say anything other than weed is perfect and 100% risk-free. Cannabis use while pregnant or breastfeeding may be harmful. Consumption of cannabis products impairs your ability to drive and operate machinery. Accessories sold separately, batteries not included. No one told or warned me about the panic attacks. Haven't smoked for 8 years due to one severe attack I had. It blocks teens' brain development, so, if you really wanna smoke that, you better wait till you're an adult. It can turn out to be a budget-killing expensive habit due to its addictiveness. Anecdotal, but weed really shouldn't be consumed or smoked by anyone that suffers from some kind of psychosis. While it might feel good at first, the effects will start to heighten and amplify psychotic symptoms. Marijuana negatively affects your quality of sleep. Using marijuana before the age of 25 can cause long-term damage to your neural functions. This isn't because it's directly harming your brain, but because your brain hasn't finished developing. Issues this can cause include but are not limited to memory loss or other memory-related issues and difficulty with complex problem solving. After the age of 25, when your brain has finished development, the drug itself is harmless. You're still inhaling smoke though. Regardless of the fact that it is not addictive, people with hereditary addiction problems can't control themselves with it. My husband does it from within 5 minutes of arriving home until 1 or 2 a.m. and now brings a vape in the car. Don't tell me that's not addiction. It stunts neurological development in people under the ages of 22. It's bad for people who are already low motivation, and people with psychoactive sensitive mental disorders like schizophrenia. Some people get super paranoid, some even hallucinate with high doses. I however am not one of those people. Smoke is bad for asthmatics, but if we're being honest here, there are far more ways to consume it than smoking. I'm personally not a fan of it for recreational purposes, not my cup of tea. But when you're sore and can't get to sleep, nothing beats it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more.